the most intense arguments in Joe Rogan history.
1,000 episodes of the Joe Rogan Experience. It's no surprise that there have been a couple of pretty heated arguments, and we're going to kick the video off by looking at one between Joe and a guest by the name of Candace Owens, who initiated the conflict after stating in a very smug way that humans
I already know this gonna get crazy.
don't need to care for the environment because climate change doesn't exist.
You don't think we have to care about the environment? Like, what do you...
No, not even a little bit. Like,
not even a little bit?
No. Okay, let me clarify this. I don't throw trash on the ground. Like, I'm not saying like we need to like, you know, trash the environment. Like, but do I believe in climate change? No.
Joe pushed back on this initial statement by arguing
Random political lady versus scientist. And I'm not saying Joe Rogan's a scientist, I'm saying actual scientist.
that the topic was incredibly complex and that maybe Candace wasn't in a position to make this claim. Things became even worse when Jamie brought up a website to support Joe's side of the argument.
The vast majority, 87% of scientists said that human activity is driving global warming.
Yeah, I don't believe
in
this,
like,
at
scientists
all, just so you know.
Which resulted in Candace implying that they were specifically searching for data to support what Joe already believed.
I guess look up the opposite. Right? Instead of looking for what you're searching.
If you look for the opposite, you're gonna find it. You're gonna find stuff to back up Candace Owens. You're gonna find stuff to back up Joe Rogan. Which one is real? I guess we don't really know, right?
Looking for what you're not looking for.
I didn't search for it. That's what I found when I searched it.
Joe then doubled down on just how detrimental the climate situation could be.
This could negatively impact all sorts of coastal cities. This could be a gigantic problem. This is not like propaganda that's drummed up by some sort of big business that seeks to make money off of this.
Yet Candace showed no interest in changing her belief on the topic, escalating the conflict even further.
I don't believe it's real, okay? So I can't sit here.
But here's the question, but why have a belief? Why have a belief as to whether or not global warming is real or not real?
Because
if
I just find that when things
you don't understand the science.
You are correct.
But why have a belief in it?
Right. So it's not a belief in it. I don't believe in it.
Joe was eventually able to get Candace to admit that she didn't really know what she was talking about.
How about not have a belief until you really have looked at the
you
data?
would prefer if my language, as opposed to admitting that I do not know this, I wouldn't die until I've never made a video, I've never made a public statement. You would prefer if I had just started by saying I have no opinion.
Yeah. No, I don't know.
No, I don't. Yeah, 100%. If you don't know, you don't know. It is what it is.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. You say
but I said I didn't know.
No, you say I don't believe in it.
Yeah.
I don't believe it. You're saying really clearly that you don't think it's real.
However, Eddie Bravo was significantly more stubborn, who found himself in an argument with Joe after refusing to let go of the idea that the Earth was flat.
Show me a real picture. Show me a real picture.
Listen, NASA does not have one of those satellites.
Fake.
Why does it look fake?
It looks like something you would see in a movie.
That's because when they do it in a movie, they try to make it look
they make it look real.
Why would it be fake?
It's propaganda, man.
After Eddie kicked off the argument by claiming that every round picture of the Earth is fake, Joe continued the conversation by requesting to see a legitimate photo of a flat Earth.
Is there a photo of this flat Earth?
No, I don't. Like I just said again.
That's what I asked.
There's no photo of the flat Earth from space. There's no photo of the round Earth from space.
So there's no photos of Earth that are real, apparently. Everything that we've seen is all fake. The flat ones are fake. The sphere ones are fake. They're all fake. All of them.
That's not true.
It's all fake.
Why do you say they're fake, though?
They look fake. They look CGI.
But you're not an expert in imagery.
After being backed into a corner, Eddie made the argument that the sources Joe was using were being paid for to keep the conspiracy going.
Where did you get this information?
Jamie.
Where'd you get it?
Where'd I get what?
This information. Where is this coming from?
This is coming off the internet.
Exactly. So you're reading some information. I'm reading some information off the internet. You didn't go to the library. It's on Wikipedia.
Just slow down.
Eddie, stop doing
There's
that.
sources here. There's a book called the American Journal of Science. I'm sure that a lot of people respect
which is
that.
bought and paid for.
Well,
then you could use the same argument for everything. Anything that he looks up about flat Earth. Oh yeah, I got it on the internet. Okay, that was bought and paid for by so-and-so, the Flat Earth Society.
maybe.
Why would anybody be paying money for people to lie about the world?
Which was followed by Eddie stating that there was no evidence to confirm that the Earth was in fact spinning.
Eddie, people have known it's spinning forever. That's how the seasons
Gravity,
work.
baby.
That's how you see the sun. We spin around. That's why it makes
explain this
eclipses.
to me.
That's why we
That's why you
age,
can
too.
track time zones. That's why you can put a piece of stick in the ground.
You're saying all the correct shit.
It acts as a sundial.
After over 40 minutes of back and forth between the two, Joe completely lost it.
Eddie.
I used to say the same
Eddie,
stuff.
you're talking about the Earth being flat. Thousands of scientists have looked into it. You think they're all wrong? That's so insane.
You haven't looked into it.
I have.
No, you have.
Oh my God. How could I not have? You don't think I have? Eddie, there's websites dedicated to debunking it. There's so many people working on these things, Eddie. The idea that they're all in on some sort of a giant global lie is insane.
However, while this argument could certainly be dismissed as a bit of banter between two friends, the same can't be said for the argument between Joe and Matt Walsh, who began the heated exchange after claiming that gay marriage shouldn't be allowed, as it threatens the institution of traditional marriage.
But then,
gay marriage threatening the institution of traditional marriage. I don't think so, because if they were already gay, they weren't going to marry somebody that was straight unless they were pretending. Well, then it's not even true love. So why even get married in the first place? What the hell is this guy talking about?
Then why are you opposed to two gay people doing that?
It's not about choice. It's about what this institution, marriage is an institution, and what is it and what purpose does it serve?
If he said it was making a mockery, I would understand that more than him saying it infringes on it. Because that's saying, oh, I can't marry this woman because now she's a lesbian and now she's marrying this other woman. Bro, you had no chance to begin with. She's not on your team.
Joe then made the point that a gay marriage doesn't damage a straight marriage in any way.
I don't think gay people and gay people getting married in any way, shape, or form changes a bond that you have with your wife.
To which Matt responded with the following point.
If marriage is not what I'm saying it is, why do we even need it? A thing that actually exists, which are man, woman couples creating babies.
But
you don't need marriage to create babies. I was waiting for him to say some shit like that. You don't need to be married to create babies. And on the contrary, a lot of women would rather be a baby mama than a wife. You don't believe me? Look at the internet.
Matt stated that
they'll say, oh man, I love my kids so much. My baby daddy ain't nothing. Oh, I never want to get married. I'd rather have a kid. And they do it.
The point of a marriage was for a man and a woman to make babies. Joe questioned the following.
If marriage is only for procreation and to bond a family together, what about people that are deeply in love that never want to have
get
children?
married on top of that?
I don't think it's not only procreation.
Right, but if people want to be married and don't want to ever have children, are you opposed to them being married?
I think this would be a couple that is rejecting one of the fundamental aspects of marriage. They should be open to life.
What about the couples that love each other very much, but they choose not to get married because they don't want the government in their relationship? Once you get married, it's not just, oh, we're married. There's a lot of paperwork that goes into it. This shit gets stamped, signed, and approved. And it goes into stuff from like how much money you're going to get paid from your job to, oh, can you take care of your kid or not? You know,
I would hope that in the future they would be.
It seemed as though Joe and Matt could have argued back and forth for hours on end. But what happens when Joe invites one of his...
I want to hear Sonny go more in deep into the argument, not just, oh, this is what they talked about. This was the argument. Okay, on to the next topic. Like, come on, bro. You could go way more. This could be a 40-minute video.
Haters onto the podcast. This is what happened with Brian Dunning, who had written an article claiming that Joe was one of 10 celebrities who promote harmful pseudoscience, in which he'd write, comedian Joe Rogan does what he can to promote virtually any conspiracy theory that he stumbles onto, apparently accepting them all uncritically with a wholesome embrace.
I wouldn't say that. I would say he does talk about some crazy pseudoscience and pseudo-medication stuff. I wouldn't say that he advises people to do it though, or just say, yeah, this stuff's great. You know, I only did a couple bit of research, but it's all great. I don't know. This is a...
He believes the Apollo astronauts did not land on the moon. He believes the US government was behind the 9/11 terrorist attacks. He believes the Oliver Stone version of the Kennedy assassination. He believes that aliens crashed at Roswell in 1947 and the government is covering it up.
I think it's perfectly fine for Joe Rogan to believe in all of this stuff. Even though I don't believe in it, it's perfectly fine for him to believe in it. As long as he's not saying, yeah, this is all facts and true and you guys should believe me 100% without any doubt. Totally different. Totally different.
Joe, if you're going to put so much effort into promoting conspiracy theories and eroding what little rationality the public has left, at least have the courage to come forward with a cogent argument and well-sourced evidence instead of the lameness of I'm just the guy asking questions. Take the responsibility. Joe would take this responsibility by inviting Dunning onto the podcast, which resulted in a 3-hour back and forth arguing about everything, beginning with conspiracy theories.
Well, it's just factually inaccurate on so many different levels. I don't understand why you wrote it like that. Like, there's things that you said that I believe that I don't, that I've never said that I do.
Before eventually concluding with diet and alcohol.
It's not correct. That's not the way the body works. That's not the way the digestion system works. When you say that there's a supplement that can prevent you from getting drunk, you're I'm sorry, you are against all reasonably established science. and you're trying to make a buck off of people potentially getting killed. And
I wouldn't say, now look, that's a strong accusation. I would not have said that. I would not have said that.
I had a huge problem with that, to the point that I had to turn the show off.
However, if we're on the topic of diet and alcohol, then we have to look at
Bro, see what I'm saying? Like,
the Joe Rogan Experience number 1267, which became one of Joe's most heated episodes after two opposing diet specialists began to argue about nutrition.
To this energy. No, Gary, you talked for a long time, and I'm going to talk for as long as I want now.
Throughout the whole episode, the two guests were continually mocking each other in a very subtle way.
How does the brain regulate that?
I didn't say it regulated that.
Hold on, Gary, hold on.
That's fascinating. But how does the brain do that?
Which accompanied other segments where the guests made it very obvious that they hated each other.
Data are very clear on that, Gary. So
no.
Yes, they are. Look, we have data.
We can't say things like that, Stefan, because we're going to disagree on what the data say.
Let's move on. You think they ate mostly fish? That's incorrect. Okay, according to the data. I remember you saying that in your book, something to that effect.
Stefan, read.
Oh, dog, you're going to have to come up with more than something to that effect. At least I think I remember it in the book.
But you've got my book. Read what I say.
Anyway.
Just read what I say.
Let's go on.
We don't have to argue about it. Read what I say.
I'm going to move on here.
The adversity between the two guests became so great that Joe had to intervene on more than one occasion.
Gary, I really continue to get the feeling that you do not understand human energetics. Because that's not how it works.
Well, no, I'm just saying 10 calories stored in the fat tissue. That's 10 calories, mathematics.
10 calories.
I didn't say anything about
Gary,
how much you have to eat.
I'm not done.
Okay, no, but you're insulting me,
Gary.
Stefan. You got to stop doing that.
Yeah, he is insulting him, but let him finish, and then
dude,
clap back.
You keep acting like you think I'm an idiot.
All right, are you done now? Are you done?
Can we be clear that we're talking about...
Are you done now?
Can I just finish this?
No, you can't until I am done.
Me without, no,
Gary,
you
have time to respond.
You can respond, write down notes on what you want to respond to, and after he's done, you can talk.
Yeah, but we're going to get into a long discourse on something that's not the point.
Well, let's find out if it is the point. We don't know what he's going to say.
Thank you. Okay.
But despite this, the two diet experts failed to agree on almost anything.
What do you disagree with?
Well, virtually everything.
As we've seen so far, Joe Rogan is pretty good at keeping his cool whenever things get spicy. However, in a recent episode with Dave Portnoy, Joe struggled to keep it.
Oh, this is going to be interesting.
His cool after Dave stated that Tommy Fury wasn't a real boxer.
I saw Tommy Fury box. He is not a boxer.
Well, he's definitely a boxer.
Well, he puts on gloves.
He's definitely a boxer.
They went on to make the point that Tommy was only famous due to his brother's name.
We would not know who Tommy Fury was if his last name wasn't Fury.
Probably we wouldn't know as much about him.
I don't.
But he's still a good-looking guy. He's built great. He looks looks the part.
Looks the part.
And while the conversation was somewhat amicable in the beginning, the tension escalated after Jamie pulled up a video of Tommy Fury's boxing.
Look at this. Look at this. He's fighting a professional boxer. The guy's fighting looks good. Dude, you're crazy if you don't think Tommy Fury's a boxer. Look at that uppercut.
Find the Tommy Fury. Find the Tommy Fury fight. Can you find me the record of Volkanovski?
This. Stop. Watch this. Watch this. Look at this. You're out of your mind if you don't. Look at this.
Look at
that right hand.
That was in slow motion.
No, it's not in slow motion.
I think you slowed that down.
No, he is 100% a legitimate professional boxer. If you don't think so, you're just being a hater.
The argument between Joe and Dave felt like it was coming from a fun perspective. However, Joe Rogan's argument with Adam Conover was significantly less friendly, which began when Adam stated that he saw nothing wrong with transgender athletes.
Sports with trans athletes who are competing with with their gender, right? That is a sporting world that I'm more interested in.
Joe responded to Adam's position by making the point that it's unfair for a biological man to compete against women.
If you're a woman and you're a natural woman and you don't take any extra hormones or male hormones, you're not taking steroids or any sort of performance enhancing drugs, you're doing your very best to compete and you're at the top of the heap. But then someone comes along that was a man for 30 years and decides that they're going to be a woman, and this has happened, and literally transitioned a few months ago, and competes as a woman and destroys records and dominates you in that sport. That's not competing on a level playing field. It's not fair. It's as much cheating as taking steroids when the other person doesn't.
I think it's definitely not fair, right? And I think the best way to solve it is have transgender athletes in their own divisions, but separate those as well, trans men and trans women division, not just all trans people in one race, because even then it's not fair. You know, when you're dealing with the human body and you're dealing with hormones and injections, and pills, it changes the purpose of these medications is to change your body into your ideal form. You're a male, you were born a male, now you want to be a female. Okay, you take the estrogen pills and you do all this other stuff, right? And your body will slowly transition, but it will never be the same as someone that was born a female. Same if you were a female and now you want to be a man, you're taking testosterone, this and that. It'll give you the abilities of the opposite gender, but it will never be 100%. So that's why I personally think it should just be, they should have their own division, their own transgender division, have trans men and trans female. That's what I think. But that costs money. And why do that when we could just move them into the other category? Simple enough, easy fix.
I disagree. And
what do you disagree about?
I've already, well, I don't think that there is such a thing as a perfectly level playing field. I think we decide what kind of playing field we want to have.
Sure, but we do make the distinction where we don't allow men to compete in women's divisions.
And I think that distinction may be breaking down a bit, right? And I think it may be time to break down that distinction a little.
So that is a terrible take. Absolutely wouldn't have said that. Would have reworded it, or probably wouldn't have said it at all. Because now Joe Rogan's going to say, so you think it's okay for men to race in female events? And then he's going to have to backtrack and say, no, I don't think that specifically. Watch.
Think that males should be able to compete in the women's division of weightlifting?
No, I don't necessarily.
What I just say?
They can if they transition.
Well, first of all,
you see?
The debate became even more heated after the two got onto the topic of transgender children.
If you're shooting hormones into...
This take is so fucking crazy and dangerous that I don't even know how to even go about it, right? Because children don't know, right? And people think the parents know what's best for their children, right? But that's not necessarily always the case. How many people do you know that say, oh, my parents treated me bad? Or you hear about the rich kid that runs away. It's like, oh, all they did was just spoil me and I don't like it. I want to live a tough life. It's so difficult and dangerous. And I personally, if I have my kid and they say they want to be this or that, they want to change gender, whatever, I'm going to say, let's wait until you turn a certain age. And then you can make that decision. And then you can figure it out. Because what's worse? Me telling them no until they're older and then they just have to wait and maybe they're upset and whatnot. I'm fine with them going to therapy or confiding into somebody else. You know, talk to the therapist, talk to, you know, whoever else, right? Or me just saying, sure, let's go ahead, start injecting them with stuff, this and that, and then they grow up. And then they're like, I don't like this. And then they try and change back. And, you know, once you genetically modify yourself, you're no longer going to be natural. Same with steroids. It's not like you take steroids one time and then you never take it ever again and now you're genetically normal. No, you altered yourself permanently. This is the same reason why I wouldn't let my kid transition at a young age is the same reason why I wouldn't let them get tattoos. I got tats. I'm tatted up. But no, if I was young, even when I was like 12 or 13, I'm like, yeah, I want to get a tattoo of a dragon. Right now, I'm 25, almost 26. I don't want no damn dragon tattoo. So, yeah.
To a child. And you're affecting the child's development. You're saying that's not a choice. That's nonsense. Of course it's a choice. You're choosing to chemically change this child's body.
Which then turned into a weird debate about the existence of alpha males.
It's not scientific, but it is true that women are hardwired to be attracted to confident, athletic men.
Okay, I wouldn't say that either. I wouldn't say that either because, look, I had a buddy in the Army. He is one of like the just softest guys. You know, he still made it through training, whatever. But he's like one of the softest guys, very nerdy. Every time we're done, you know, we do the salute at the end. We go to our barracks, immediately on the laptop playing the game. Bro, his wife chose him. She was like, I want him because he's not going to cheat on me or leave me. I want him. Or maybe not. Maybe she just thought he was a good guy. That's just me saying that just because. But maybe she's like, oh, I want him. He's attractive to me. And she took him. And now they've been married for so long. And now they got a kid. So it's not, I wouldn't say that. It always depends, right? Not every female is going to like a certain alpha male. Some women like fat guys. Some people only want to date fat guys, and if they get skinny, they leave them. So I wouldn't say that.
I don't know if I agree with that. But
really?
Yeah.
But if you ask girls, like, what are you into? And you say, are you into tall, muscular, confident men?
Let's hear this. If he says majority, then he's automatically wrong because he said they're hardwired. That means all of them. So if he says majority or any, Joe is automatically losing this fight.
They're also nice to do. Jesus Christ, it's going to be off the charts. It's going to be like most of them.
And that's where you lost. Cool, you said most of them, but earlier you said hardwired, so that means all of them.
I'm really not sure that's the case.
Really?
However, at least Joe was sober for the Adam Conover debate, as alcohol was one of the main drivers for Joe's heated 2017 argument with Steven Crowder, which began with Steven stating that the legalization of weed has led to an increase in motor vehicle accidents.
Traffic fatalities regarding marijuana have skyrocketed.
Google that, because that's nonsense.
No, we wrote about it
drunk driving arrests have dropped. What do you mean first of all?
No, we wrote about what the sources are, the original studies.
Steven then tried to convince Joe that he didn't really care about the use of weed.
I don't care about it.
Yeah, you do.
I don't care.
You're the guy that thinks people should be able to do whatever. You're a free market guy,
that's
right?
What I just said.
So if you're a free market guy, why wouldn't you be in support of something, whether it's the most beneficial or equally beneficial? But you're not necessarily, because you're denying.
But because right now of the chemical,
which is followed by Joe mocking.
I don't understand this argument. I don't understand it. So is Joe saying, "Oh, why aren't you okay with weed drivers?" I don't understand.
Steven for his attitude.
Things that are good. And don't shore, man. Just like you don't shore turmeric, you don't shore ginger, you don't shore a reduced sugar diet. All those things that reduce inflammation are good for you.
I don't buy that smoking marijuana would be as beneficial as a reduced sugar diet.
After bringing up a study to support Joe's point, the following exchange ensued.
Since
this is the type of arguments potheads have when they think weed is like the greatest thing that ever happened on earth. And it should be legal and everybody should smoke weed since they're 5 years old. Like, bro, shut the hell up. Weed is not for everybody. Stop acting like it's the miracle cure everything. You're just a pothead. You just like being high. Chill out.
Marijuana legalization, highway fatalities in Colorado are at near historic lows.
You haven't bringing up the source that you want to find.
Washington
Post.
Bring
up the study right there. Yeah, Washington Post. Bring up the study that we.
You're gonna find studies for each side. Like I said earlier, you're gonna find for Candace Owens, if she wants, or the guy talking about flat Earth, you're gonna find sites for both opinions. That's just how the internet works.
We wrote about it on our website.
Look, I don't care about your website. Since marijuana legalization, highway fatalities in Colorado
Since you called me
And after Joe sobered up the following day, he issued an apology for the way he acted during one of the most heated arguments in Joe Rogan history.
I ain't gonna lie, that one was kind of weak. It was a good video, but I wish the video was longer, got more in detail, because now I want to go watch these Joe Rogan moments, but I ain't gonna sit 2 hours of my life to watch a video. Hell no. But that's my opinion. Anyways, always hit it with a like. But what do you guys think? What do you think about my takes? What do you think about my opinions? Try and keep it civil. I know a lot of people have strong opinions, either left or right, but sometimes it's not even worth it. Doesn't matter. It's just my opinions. My opinion doesn't mean anything. Just like your opinion doesn't really mean anything either. I mean, that's just real shit. Anyways, it's your boy Miss. Comment, subscribe. See you guys next time. Peace.